Why the NDP fired me. They supported child abuse. I put this out January 5th, so keep that in mind where I say just hit send on. In the true spirit of the name Open Letters, the name of this blog, here's an email I just hit send on 2 seconds ago. Attention Bailey Sargent, forward union matter. Hi Bailey, Janelle, it's the party president, advised me to speak to Kevin, the new director, who advised me to speak to you. Patty Clancy has seemingly stonewalled me on this union grievance, as all process seemed to grind to a halt. My concerns were as legitimate as they come, as I'm sure you're aware if you've listened to this episode of Blueprints of Disruption called The Autistic Resistance. It documents how basically a lobby group purchased policy that was considered abusive when it came to treatment of autistic children by the Disability Committee of the party. Now, you could agree or disagree with that committee, but it's the party's own committee. So here I go on this letter. You should listen to that episode. In fact, you can just hit stop right now and go listen to Blueprints of Disruption. It's far more important than what I'm going to say here. They have a lot to tell you about what's happening via the ABA lobby to autistic children who are being given PTSD as adults, predictably. So here I go on to say, I can forward you my complete correspondence with the party about ABA if you don't have access to it. I provided ample research to support the Disability Committee's position that ABA is child abuse, a form of conversion therapy for autism, invented by the same man who invented gay conversion therapy, which is now illegal, including a U of T Psych 100 professor's regret that he ever taught ABA uncritically. That was Dan Dolderman, now Clara Dolderman. For merely mentioning correctly what the Disability Committee's position was, I was targeted by the ABA lobby, along with other staff, leading to my abrupt termination as a top fundraiser. This is right before we had to go up against Ford, by the way, people. There is a growing list being circulated of people who have been terminated by the ABA lobby at the Ontario NDP. I am unsure how long this list is or will grow to be. I since then applied for provincial director, and while it was an ambitious step and I welcome Kevin in his new role, I will point you all to what I urged in that letter. We must convert to a worker cooperative to stand up for union ideals. Because a workers' democracy could resist these kinds of moneyed exploits from lobby groups to merely purchase policy positions, which, in this case, directly harm children, leading to predictable increases in PTSD for these children as adults. It's overprescribed, to say the least. The data are clear, and so is the capture of the party by this lobby group, for why else would it ignore its own Disability Committee's research? This conflict of interest is between money and the truth, and between money and the human suffering of children. And when they grow up. Because the party and the union both stonewalled me, I had no option but to speak to the Office of the Integrity Commissioner of Ontario. You may have heard from them. Please advise as to the next steps in raising my union grievance. Cheers, Adam, adamgolding.ca. P.S. In the meantime, I've become the new labor liaison for the University of Rosedale NDP, and before that I co-founded the Municipal Socialist Alliance, which garnered 15,000 votes in its first season, coming out as the median candidate in the 14-way race for Ward 11, one of many spoiler candidates, tipping the balance from Norm to Diane, when I would gladly have continued to do paid work for the party or Norm's campaign, but the party's actions proved the need of a vote for a true independent at that time. And of course, many others spoiled by a larger margin, such as Robin Buxton Potts. Now, I will say that Lucy Watson has since departed. I am seeking the federal NDP nomination in my race against Chrystia Freeland, who has got to go. There is hope yet, but this particular issue must be pressed, because the stakes, as I've made clear here, are very high. It's predictable increases in PTSD in these children as adults. And one thing I forgot to add here, you can't see it anymore because A4A, the Autistics for Autistic Society, took down their whole Twitter in protest of Elon Musk. That's a whole other topic. They took down their Twitter. What they took down was a tweet they had which had a leaked memo that had gone to MPPs of the Ontario NDP, and it was leaked because it said for your eyes only, but it had supposedly like published research. But if it's just the facts, why is it for your eyes only? Because it wasn't the facts. The ABA lobby gave false data to MPPs just to keep the money flowing. It's easy business, they switched from lobbying the Conservatives to lobbying the NDP provincially. Just look up the Ontario Autism Coalition and their whole history. Ontario Autism Coalition. So that's why the NDP fired me. But they may employ me again because I don't know if they have an idea who they're going to run against Chrystia Freeland. So I'm going to give them, as you can see tonight, I have a lot of ideas to give y'all. Have a good night.